She looked me dead in the eye, surrounded by 50 of our closest friends and family, and screamed, "I can't do this anymore because you are simply not on my level." Honey, grab your wine, sit down, and maybe check your blood pressure medication, because the story I am about to tell you is going to make you want to throw your phone across the room. I am still shaking just reading this. The absolute unmitigated gall of this woman. Honestly, if I hadn't seen the receipts, I wouldn't believe people this evil actually existed, but they do. Oh, they do. Let me take you back to where this train wreck started so you can understand just how hard this crash really was. My name is Liam. I'm 29 years old, and until about 3 weeks ago, I thought I was living the American dream. I'm a custom cabinet maker. I own my own small business. I work with my hands. I make good money, and I take pride in what I do. I'm talking about the kind of guy who can walk into an empty room and visualize a mahogany library and then build it from scratch. I'm stable. I'm loyal. I'm the guy you call when your pipe bursts at 3 a.m. or you need help moving a couch. And for 4 years, I was completely, blindly, stupidly devoted to a woman named Chloe. We met at an art gallery opening in the city. It was one of those pretentious events where they serve warm champagne in plastic flutes and everyone pretends to understand abstract splashes of paint. I was there because I'd built the display cases. She was there because she worked in PR and was scouting talent. Chloe was magnetic. That's the only word for it. She had this energy that sucked all the air out of the room. She was sharp, witty, and dressed like she stepped out of a magazine. She walked up to me while I was inspecting a hinge on one of my cases and made a joke about how the art was trash, but the carpentry was the only thing with a soul in the room. I laughed, she smirked, and just like that, I was hooked. Fast forward 6 months, and she was moving her designer clothes into my closet. It felt right. It felt like we were a team. I was the grounding force, the steady rock, and she was the kite flying high in the corporate world. She worked for a high-powered marketing firm dealing with crisis management and brand image. Her hours were insane. Late nights, weekends, constant phone calls. But I never complained. I respected her hustle. I thought we were building an empire together. We split the bills. We planned vacations. We talked about kids. We were that couple that everyone else hated because we seemed so functional. We had the Sunday brunch routine, the shared Google Calendar, the whole 9 yards, or so I thought. Looking back now with the benefit of hindsight, which, let me tell you, is 2020 and absolutely brutal, I should have seen the cracks. But when you're in love, you don't see cracks. You just see character. It started around Christmas. We were walking past this vintage jewelry shop in the historic district. Chloe usually liked modern, flashy stuff, but she stopped dead in her tracks in front of a display of antique emeralds. There was this one ring, Art Deco, platinum band with a square-cut emerald that looked like deep green glass. She pressed her hand against the glass and whispered, "Now that is a ring for a woman who knows her worth." I took a mental picture. I memorized the price tag. I memorized the cut. 2 days later, I went back and put a deposit down. It wasn't cheap. I'm talking dip into the savings account and pick up 3 extra jobs expensive, but I didn't care. I wanted to give her the world. I spent the next 4 months working my tail off, taking every custom kitchen remodel and bathroom vanity job I could get just to pay that thing off so I could propose. I had the plan locked and loaded. My cousin Marcus was throwing his engagement party in late spring. He and I are like brothers. We grew up together. He was marrying Elena, this absolute sweetheart of a woman. I was going to be a groomsman. The plan wasn't to propose at their party. I'm not that guy, okay? I have manners, but I was going to do it the weekend after on a private trip to the coast. But then the vibe shifted. Start of spring, Chloe changed. It wasn't sudden. It was a slow erosion. She started getting snappy. She'd come home from work at 9 p.m., throw her bag on the counter, and when I asked how her day was, she'd roll her eyes and say, "You wouldn't understand, Liam. It's complicated corporate strategy, not sawdust." Ouch, right? But I let it slide. Stress, I told myself. Then came the phone guarding. You know the move. Phone goes face down on the table the second she sits. She changed her passcode. She started taking client calls on the balcony with the glass door slid shut. When I asked who it was always just a needy client or my boss having a meltdown. There was one weekend in particular, she told me she had to go to a conference in Chicago. Crisis management seminar, she said, mandatory attendance. I offered to drive her to the airport. She said no, she'd take an Uber because she needed to prep on the way. I offered to pick her up. She said no, she'd take a cab because her flight might be delayed. I was cleaning the house while she was gone, scrubbing the floors, making sure everything was perfect for when she got back. I felt bad that she was working so hard. I wanted her to come home to a sanctuary. God, I was such a chump. If you're listening to this and you're screaming at the screen, she's cheating, you idiot. Trust me, I know. But at the time, I trusted her. That's the tragedy of it. I trusted her implicitly. If you're already shook by how blind I was, hit that like button because, honey, I haven't even gotten to the worst part yet. The explosion is coming and it is messy. So, the week of Marcus's engagement party arrives. Chloe is acting weird, not just distant, but jittery, like a cat on a hot tin roof. She's checking her reflection in every mirror, buying new outfits, returning them, buying more. She spent $300 on a hair appointment. I asked her, babe, it's just Marcus and Elena. It's a backyard party. You look great in anything. She whipped around and snapped, you don't get it, Liam. Appearances matter. People judge you by who you're with and how you present yourself. I need to look perfect. I thought she meant she wanted to look good for me. I thought she was trying to be the perfect plus one. The night of the party, we pull up to Marcus's place. It's a beautiful house in the suburbs, big patio, string lights everywhere, catered taco bar, open bar, real nice setup. About 50 people are there, family, friends, colleagues. The atmosphere is buzzing. Marcus and Elena are glowing. They've been together 6 years, and this is their moment. We walk in, and I can feel Chloe vibrating next to me. She's gripping my arm, but not affectionately. It's like she's holding onto a railing to keep from falling over. We get a drink. We mingle. I'm talking to my aunt about her garden, and I lose track of Chloe for a bit. About 20 minutes later, I find her near the bar. She's knocking back a martini like it's water. I walk up and whisper, hey, slow down a bit. We've got to drive home later. She slams the glass down on the table. The sound is loud, too loud. People turn to look. Don't tell me what to do, Liam, she hisses. Her eyes are glassy, but hard, cold. I'm just saying, I tried to keep my voice low, smiling for the neighbors. Let's get some food. I don't want a taco, Liam. She raises her voice. Now more people are looking. Marcus stops talking to his dad. The music seems to fade into the background. Chloe, let's go outside, I said, reaching for her elbow gently. She yanked her arm away like I burned her. And then she detonated the bomb. She stepped back, looked around the room, making sure she had an audience, and then looked at me with pure, unadulterated disgust. I can't do this anymore, she announced loudly. I am so tired of pretending. Look at you. You're small time. The room went dead silent. I'm talking pin drop silence. 50 people froze with nachos halfway to their mouths. My face felt like it was on fire. Chloe, stop. You're drunk. I am not drunk, she screamed. I am finally seeing clearly. I can't marry you, Liam. I can't spend the rest of my life smelling sawdust and listening to you talk about cabinet hinges. I need a man who is going places. I need a husband who can actually afford the life I deserve, not some blue-collar handyman who thinks a holiday is a road trip to a lake. I stood there absorbing the shrapnel. It felt like I was being punched in the gut over and over again. This was the woman I was going to propose to. This was the woman I loved. You could never be a good husband to a woman like me, she shrieked, gesturing wildly. I am out of your league, and I have been for years. I looked at Marcus. He looked horrified. Elena looked like she was about to cry for me. I didn't yell back. I didn't cause a scene. Something inside me just died. The love, the future, the plans, it all just turned to ash in that 1 second. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I realized I didn't know this person at all. Okay, I said. My voice was calm, scary calm. You're right. I'm done. I turned around, walked past my stunned family, grabbed my jacket, and walked out the front door. I heard her laughing as I left. A frantic, manic laugh. Finally, she yelled after me. Go build a shelf or something. I got in my truck. My hands were shaking so bad I couldn't get the key in the ignition for a solid minute. I just sat there staring at the steering wheel, trying to breathe. I felt humiliated, hollowed out. I drove home in silence, no radio, just the hum of the tires. I got to our apartment, my apartment, mind you, the lease was in my name, and I sat in the dark. I didn't cry. I think I was in shock. About an hour later, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Sarah, a mutual friend who was at the party. Sarah is a good egg. She's honest. The text read, "Are you okay? Please tell me you're not alone." I texted back, "I'm fine, just processing." The three dots bubbled for a long time. Then she called me. I picked up. "Hey, Sarah." "Liam," she whispered. She sounded like she was hiding in a bathroom. "You need to know what happened after you left." "I don't care," I said. She made her feelings pretty clear. "No," Sarah said, her voice urgent. "It's not just that. After you left, Julian walked up to her." I froze. Julian. You need to know about Julian. Julian is my cousin Marcus's stepbrother. He's the black sheep, but not in a cool, rebellious way. In a sleazy, I work in crypto and drive a leased BMW I can't afford kind of way. He's flashy. He wears suits that are too tight, talks too loud about his portfolio, and hits on anything that moves. I have tolerated him at family functions for years, but I never liked him. "Julian?" I asked. Why would Julian talk to her? "Liam," Sarah sighed, and I could hear the pain in her voice. "He walked up to her, put his hand on her waist, and kissed her on the neck in front of everyone, and she leaned into it. She laughed. She said, I heard her say, 'I did it. He's gone. Now we don't have to hide.'" The world stopped spinning. The floor dropped out from under me. "They're together?" I choked out. "Evidently," Sarah said, "and judging by the way they're acting, this isn't new. Liam, she's been cheating on you with Julian. That's why she humiliated you. She wanted to burn the bridge so she could leave with him publicly." I hung up the phone. I sat there for 5 minutes just staring at the wall. The Chicago trip, the late nights, the client calls. It wasn't work. It was Julian, my cousin's slimy stepbrother. Rage is a funny thing. At first it's hot, it burns, but then if you let it settle, it turns cold, ice cold, and that's where I went. I went into tactical mode. I opened my laptop. I logged into our joint bank account. We used it for rent and groceries, but we both had debit cards. I started scrolling. I looked for the dates. The weekend of the Chicago conference, there it was. No flight charges, no Uber in Chicago. But there was a charge for the Sapphire Hotel, a boutique hotel about 40 minutes away from our apartment, $300 a night. There was a dinner charge at L'Opera, the most expensive Italian place in the city, $200. I kept scrolling back. 2 months ago, a charge for tickets to a concert I didn't go to, a charge for a men's spa day. I certainly never got a spa day. There were dozens of them. Little things, big things. Over the last 3 months, she had siphoned off about $3,000 of our joint money to fund her affair with Julian. I took screenshots. I printed them out. I highlighted every single fraudulent charge with a bright yellow marker. I organized them by date. I didn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table drinking black coffee, waiting. At 7 a.m., the door unlocked. Chloe walked in. She was still wearing her party dress, but it was rumpled. Her makeup was smeared. She looked hungover and smug. She saw me sitting there and stopped. She crossed her arms, trying to look tough. "Look," she started, her voice raspy. "I know last night was harsh, but it had to be done. We were going nowhere." "How was Julian?" I asked without looking up from my laptop. She froze. The color drained out of her face faster than you can snap your fingers. What?" "Julian," I repeated, finally looking at her. "How was he? Did he enjoy the hotel room you paid for with my money back in April? Did he like the Italian dinner you bought him in March?" I spun the laptop around so she could see the spreadsheet I'd made. Yes, I made a spreadsheet. I'm a craftsman. I like details. "Liam, She started to stammer. The arrogance was gone. Panic was setting in. "Don't lie," I said, standing up. "Sarah told me everything. You've been sleeping with my cousin's stepbrother for months. You humiliated me in front of my family for a guy who wears fake Rolexes." "He gets me," she shouted, trying to pivot back to anger. "He has ambition. He's going places. He makes me feel alive, Liam. You're just boring. You're safe. I don't want safe." "Ambition?" I laughed. It was a dark, humorless laugh. Julian is a sales rep for a failing tech startup. He lives with 3 roommates, and apparently he lets his mistress pay for his dinners. We're in love, she yelled, and now that I'm free of you, we're going to be a power couple, so I'm going to pack my bags and I'm leaving. Good, I said, because if you're not out in 2 hours, I'm changing the locks and putting your Prada bags on the curb. And Chloe, you owe me $3,000. I don't owe you anything, she spat, storming into the bedroom. Make sure you're subscribed because the update I'm about to drop is going to make you scream. You think this is the end? Oh no, the karma that hit this woman is so sweet it'll give you cavities. The fallout. She moved out that day. It was a whirlwind of slamming drawers and cursing. Julian didn't come to help her move, by the way. Interesting, right? Her dad came with a van, looking at me like I was the devil because Chloe had clearly spun some story about me being controlling. I didn't say a word to him. I just handed him the printout of the bank statements as he walked out the door. You might want to ask your daughter about these, I said. His face went gray as he glanced at the hotel charges. He didn't say anything, just walked to the van. I spent the next week scrubbing the apartment. I threw out the sheets. I burned the photos. I returned the emerald ring, took a hit on the restocking fee, but getting that cash back felt like winning the lottery. Update 1, 2 weeks later. I'm at work sanding down a maple countertop when my phone buzzes. It's Marcus. Dude, he says, you need to come over, now. I drive over to Marcus's place. He looks furious. Elena looks vindicated. So, Marcus says, handing me a beer, I just got off the phone with my dad. He kicked Julian out of the family business. I raised an eyebrow. Wait, Julian worked for your dad? He was consulting, Marcus used air quotes. Basically, Dad was throwing him a bone. But after what happened at the party, Dad is old school. He doesn't do betrayal. He told Julian he's cut off. No more job, no more allowance. Allowance? I choked on my beer. The guy is 30. Yep, Marcus said. But that's not the best part. You know how Chloe kept screaming about how Julian was on her level? Yeah. Well, Marcus grinned, a truly evil grin. Turns out Julian has a fiancé. My jaw hit the floor. A fiancé? Her name is Vanessa, Elena chimed in, looking delighted. She's an orthopedic surgeon. She's been in Europe for a fellowship for 6 months. She came back yesterday. Does she know? I asked. Oh, she knows, Elena said, because Julian, being the genius he is, forgot to delete his text with Chloe. Vanessa unlocked his iPad this morning. She kicked him out of her penthouse about 3 hours ago. So, let's recap. Chloe dumped me publicly for a guy she thought was a rich, successful power player. Turns out he was an unemployed mooch living off an allowance and his surgeon fiancé, and Chloe was just the side piece he used while the sugar mama was out of town. Update 2, the meltdown. A week after that, I get an email. It's from Chloe. Subject line, please read. I shouldn't have opened it, but I'm human. I opened it. It was a wall of text. Liam, I made a huge mistake. I was confused. Julian manipulated me. He told me he was single. He told me he was wealthy. He lied to me about everything. I'm staying at my parents' house and it's miserable. My dad won't talk to me because of the bank statements. I miss our apartment. I miss us. I miss the way you used to make coffee in the morning. Can we please just meet for coffee? I think we can fix this. I laughed so hard I almost fell off my chair. Fix this? You screamed that I was a loser in front of my grandmother. But here is where the tea gets scalding hot. I met up with Sarah, the friend who tipped me off, for a drink to thank her. She told me the rest of the story. Apparently, when Chloe found out about Vanessa, the fiancé, she didn't just cry. She went nuclear. She showed up at Julian's apartment complex, where he was currently crashing on a buddy's couch because Vanessa kicked him out. She started screaming in the parking lot. She keyed his BMW. But remember how I said Julian's BMW was leased? And remember how Chloe works in PR and image management? Well, someone filmed her meltdown. A video of Chloe in her work blazer screaming profanities and scratching liar into the side of a luxury car went viral in our local community groups. Her boss saw it. Clients saw it. Chloe was fired for conduct unbecoming of a representative of the firm. So in the span of 3 weeks, she lost her boring, stable boyfriend, her rich, exciting lover, her apartment, her reputation, and her 6-figure job. Final update, The karma resolution. It's been 2 months now. I finally replied to Chloe's email. I wrote exactly one sentence. I used the refund from the emerald ring to buy a new table saw, and it listens better than you ever did. Then I blocked her. I've been focusing on the business. Since the breakup, I've had so much extra energy and money that I expanded my shop. I just landed a contract to do the cabinetry for a boutique hotel downtown. Ironically, a competitor of the one Chloe dragged Julian to. Marcus and Elena's wedding is next month. I'm still the best man. Julian is not invited. In fact, Julian has skipped town and moved to Florida because he owes money to just about everyone in the tri-state area. As for Chloe, last I heard from the grapevine, she's working as a receptionist at her uncle's car dealership in a town 40 miles away. She's living in her childhood bedroom. I went on a date last night. Her name is Maya. She's an architect I met on a job site. She saw me covered in sawdust, looking at blueprints, and said, "Nice joinery." We talked for 3 hours. She didn't look at her phone once. So, to answer the question, Chloe screamed at me at the party, no, I could never be a good husband to a woman like her, because a good husband doesn't let his wife treat people like garbage. But I'm going to make a hell of a husband to someone who actually knows the value of things that are built to last. So, here's my question for you guys in the comments. If your ex-girlfriend who publicly humiliated you showed up homeless and jobless, begging for a second chance, would you even open the door to hear her out, or would you call the cops for trespassing? Let me know, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories where trash takes itself out.